Nick Cannon and his family suffer a tragic loss. The 41-year-old revealing on his daytime talk show Tuesday that his 5-month-old son, Zen, has died of brain cancer. Nick says that Zen was suffering from hydrocephalus, a complication of brain cancer, which took a turn for the worse around Thanksgiving.
And I think it was called, if I'm not mistaken, but it was like where it was fluid that was building up in his head, and that was the cause of his head was starting to get big. And when we found out it was more of they called it like a malignant tumor in his head. And so immediately we had to have surgery, it was brain surgery. We put a shunt in his head and we were hoping for the best. But Thanksgiving, we had a interesting turn, and the process sped up, you know, and ultimately, if anybody knows how cancers, it was cancer in the brain. And the tumor began to grow a lot faster.
Nick also tearfully opened up to his audience about his final moments with his son.
I wanted to make sure that, you know, I had allowed the sun to rise and, you know, kind of hold my son. Having the last, holding my son for the last time. But it was a beautiful setting.
Zen's mother, Alyssa Scott, also opened up about the loss, posting a series of heartbreaking images and videos of her newborn son to her Instagram page. On his show Tuesday, Nick thanked Alyssa, praising her strength.
I really have to say, Zen's mom, Alyssa was just like the strongest woman I've ever seen. You know, was emotional when she needed to be, but was always the best mom and continues to be the best mom possible.
Nick also addressed returning to work so quickly after losing a child, calling Tuesday's show a celebration of life for Zen.
I didn't know how I was gonna handle today. I didn't know how, but I just really wanted, you know, I wanted to grieve with my family. You know what I mean? There's no...
A source tells ET that Nick was scheduled to have 2 show tapings on Monday, December 6th, including a live show. Those were both unexpectedly canceled on Sunday, and a pre-taped episode was aired on Monday instead.
I didn't want to make it about any pageantry or any of that type of stuff, so it kind of went back and forth for what I should do, but I felt like, you know, I was always taught about, you don't just go through it, you grow through it, you keep pushing, you know what I mean?
Nick is a father to 6 children and opened up to ET in September about how his kids are his everything.
I've heard all of the stories, but it's like when you see these men in power, in the positions of power, and even when I find myself in one, when you have so much power, it comes much responsibility. I mean, it sounds very superhero-like, but it's real. So when you're in this position to change people's lives, and you hold the keys to what they consider success, you see a different aspect of the person. People will do anything to achieve their goals. And then people will manipulate and misuse that energy to get what they want. So you see a man in power, like, it's a lot of, and then like, even like that freaky, weird, pedophile shit that be going on, like, you hear about it, but it's dark and demonic energy that this industry was built on. Not right. Like, that's just, that person shouldn't be talking to that person. That person shouldn't be in the room with that person alone. That person shouldn't, you know, but on the other side, what I've also seen is some very innocent situations get turned into things that have nothing to do with the person or the position in power, but because it was manipulated from the other side, it made someone who was just trying to operate within the system look bad. I mean, like I said, like, I've been part of lawsuits where I wasn't even in the same city, but because it was an event that I sponsored, or it was a movie or TV project that I was producing, they utilized my name to get a check. And because I don't want to play with that, you know what I mean? It's horrible, but it's certain law firms that are built on, it's like crash collision law firms, there's like sexual misconduct law firms. In that connection, right. So the people that don't have it are a little, and I'm gonna say this carefully, are a little less
and where the term actually comes from, because I'm bringing it all the way back around to Minister Farrakhan, to where they may not have the compassion or the when they were sent to the mountains of Caucasus, when they didn't have the power of the sun, that the sun then started to deteriorate them. So then they're acting out of fear, they're acting out of low self-esteem, they're acting out of a deficiency. So therefore, the only way that they can act is evil. The only way they have to rob, steal, rape, kill, and
fight or flight,
in order to survive.
Exactly.
So then these people who didn't have what we had, and when I say we, I speak of the melanated people.
Right.
They had to be savages. They had to be barbaric. Because they're in these Nordic mountains. They're in these rough, torrential environments. So they're acting as animals.
Right.
So they're the ones that are actually closer to animals. They're the ones that are actually the true savages. And then they built up such this I don't want to say warrior, but they built up such this conquering barbaric men.
Where you were and what happened and where we're going.
Yeah, I like to start off by saying the great historian Dr. John Henry Clarke says sometimes you could talk about the right things in the wrong way. And never even a question of intention or identity. My podcast, Cannon's Class, has always been a place to have, difficult and tough discussions in an open environment. And my goal has always been to have discussions with people where I learn. I'm the student, I'm the vessel, and I wanted to learn more about the situation with Professor Griff and how he felt that he had been blackballed for the last 30 years and kicked out of the world famous group, one of my favorite groups, Public Enemy, due to some anti-Semitism that was projected in the 80s, or the accusations of anti-Semitism during that time. So I was like, okay, this is a forum where we can have these open dialogues. Unbeknownst to me, of certain tropes that we will continue to discuss in this forum, but it was at the time things that I thought was factual information I didn't know were dog whistles to a certain community. And through this process, I've definitely learned, like what you said, when there's conversations about identity, there's conversations about positions of power, and when we come from two communities that share oppression and and have persecution in common. My goal in that conversation, once I laid the groundwork, was to get to the place of saying, there is no boogeyman. There is, and I think, well into the conversation, maybe too far in 90 minutes, maybe, or so, I kind of got to the point of like, well, we hear all of these things about certain people being in power, certain groups, oppressing other groups. But if we believe in, a conversation of empowerment, if we believe that we are a powerful people, then we can't be afraid or scared of any oppressive powers or boogeymen. But obviously, through the times that we're currently in with social media and so many different things, people don't have time to sit down and necessarily listen to a whole 90-minute discussion. And like I said, when I set off quite a few alarms, hurtful alarms, that those were the things that rang through more than the conversation about empowerment. And that's where I apologize specifically for the hurtful words, because that was never my intention. So I needed to step back and really say, okay, well, if this is what I was attempting to do, but this is what came forth, I have to rethink and reconstruct this whole process. And now through, this process of atonement, I always say atonement is a process. An apology is a step, but atonement is a process. And as we, as our shared faiths know, atoning is something that we go through to make ourselves better. So if we're ever placed in this position again, that we make a different decision.
And of course, you dedicated yourself to education, which would prevent saying things that are either unfactual historically and equally important, painful to another community. What does that process look like for you?
That process is it's a healthy process because
Oh, don't worry about Nick. Nick. Okay, look, fine. Fine, okay? You want me to tell everybody? You want me to let everybody know what that? Okay, fine. Nick, I'll let you suck my dick. Okay? Fine, I said. I let Nick suck my dick. And and I liked it. It was okay. Fine. Nick, you sucked my dick. But everybody knows you did it as a female. But Nick, you sucked my dick. I didn't want to say that. You know? Nick been sucking dick. Nick, you know you been sucking dick. Mush mouth motherfucker. You don't want me on wild enough. Nick been sucking dick. Nick been everybody in the world gonna be like,
thank you guys for watching my video. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is the sister channel to Lady Jane, so please come over here and subscribe, and don't forget to like and share again. I will be on this channel more. I'm letting Lady Jane go, so again, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe, and let me know what you think about this Nick Cannon video. Me personally, I do feel like he did say a lot of true things, but because he has the status that he has and he did it on his talk show, it caused a lot of controversy. But he ended up recanting his story and apologizing and getting his TV show back. But that still doesn't take away from the fact that that's truly how he feels. And he's not able to feel, you know, the way he feel because he can potentially get fired or have his TV show taken away from him again. Like, that's crazy. And then they're denying that they don't have this type of power when they really do have that type of power. If a lot of you guys don't know, Nick Cannon started off, you know, young in the industry. So I'm sure a lot of things that happened to him, they had him already dressing up in, you know, dresses on, I think it was All That. And then they also came out with allegations against him and, or not they, but Kel Mitchell's ex-wife said that she caught, you know, him and Nick Cannon in the bed, and Nick Cannon had on her cheerleader outfit. So I'm like, I don't know if because a lot of these, they be having a lot of them kids messing with each other at a young age in the industry, and a lot of them be, you know, messing around with each other. So I'm like, I don't know if that's something that, you know, happened when they were younger and it stemmed into adulthood, but it got to be some truth to it, because Orlando Brown came out and said that, you know, he received oral sex from him, but, you know, it was him dressed up as a woman. And like I said, they had him dressing up as a woman when he was on All That. And he was not even, I think he was only like a teenager. So that's crazy that, you know, that they have to go through all of these things. And now he's having all of these kids back to back to back. And I just feel like that's a part of his humiliation ritual, where he got to I really feel like he got to get them kids up to the industry. He already lost his son at 5 months. His son's name was Zen, and he had a brain tumor. Now, this is what Nick Cannon had to say. He said, on Tuesday's episode of the Nick Cannon Show, the television personality revealed to the audience that his 5-month-old son, Zen, died from a brain cancer. His cancer reportedly took a turn for the worse around Thanksgiving. Cannon continued to say he spent Zan's remaining days together in California, where, you know, a lot of stuff happened in California. A lot of these celebrities are born in California, where he held his son for the last time near the ocean on Sunday, December 5th. So it's like, why did you take him to the ocean? But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Zan reportedly died shortly after their trip to the beach, according to Cannon. Doctors discovered the cancer when Zan was about 2 months old. Over the weekend, I lost my youngest son to a condition called hydrocephalus brain cancer, said Cannon on his show. It's tough, and I have my therapist here who is helping us through it. He also stated, we got to spend the weekend with him. I said, I feel like I want to go to the water, to the ocean, he said. Cannon went on to explain that he typically flies back to New York on Sundays, but when he arrived to the airport, he felt the need to turn around and return to his family. Now, why they needed to go to the ocean? And they went, I think they did that December 5th, and then their son died December 7th. So I don't know what they did at that ocean. That's just me personally. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that was just really weird. And then his baby mama goes on to say, we knew he would not make it to see 6 months. We knew since August that Zen's time on this earth would be limited. So I don't know, y'all. Let me know what y'all feel about this video. Again, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. I do appreciate you guys for going ahead and tuning in. And have a good rest of your night. Bye-bye.